Okay, this movie. Bong, you could have done, you should have done better. This movie it's a mess. You know what it's not? As good as Parasite. And do you know what else it's not? 73, 78%. It's not that good. This is like a 63% maybe. 62. Weird movie. Tone all over the place. Pacing crawls at a snail's pace like halfway through. Awkward threesome sex scene that had no purpose being there, and it was just really uncomfortable for the audience. And good thing they stopped it before it went too far, but like, what are we doing here? Think about it. If your premise is this guy, he signed up to be an Expendables on some space colony, and he's getting 3D printed, essentially, to come back to life after every death, you'd think they'd have a lot of fun. Like, the first act would be showing the first 16 Mickey's lives. No, you just kind of see a couple deaths here and there. Nope. The movie opens with him sort of on the spaceship, and they're like, oh, sorry, the wire's already fixed, when he's trying to do some maintenance job. It's like, we're actually testing to see how fast the radiation's going to kill you. Psych. He's like, okay, thanks for telling me now. And okay, and then how did I get here 4.5 years earlier? And then Robert Pattinson's just providing overdub voiceover narration, exposition for like 40 minutes of the movie. It feels like so much exposition overdub. It's cringe. How did the guy that made Parasite revert his film school knowledge and get worse at making movies? It's like a cardinal rule. That much overdubbing exposition is going to ruin your movie. It's going to make it feel amateurish because, show don't tell. You're telling me way too much that you could be showing me. I want to see more about the origins of this society and why we're in space with the spaceship and each death of Mickey, I thought each one would be creative, but no, 7 or 8 of the deaths are him just pretty much being a biohazard experiment test where they're testing to see if they can get a vaccine from him and, measure his antibodies and make a better vaccine because the space planet, this foreign planet is killing the humans who, are exposed to it right away. So many of the Mickey deaths are not shown on screen, and the ones that are rushed through some sort of montage, and they're all the same and boring. How did this movie not have a hell of a lot of fun showing us all of the different Mickey deaths? That's what I expected to see in this movie. I thought it was going to kind of take a while to get to Mickey 17, but no, we're pretty much there after the first half, and then the whole thing is between Mickey 17 and Mickey 18. And they're trying to kill each other, or one of them's trying to survive because if they're caught, then they're both going to be eliminated because you can't have multiples due to some sort of serial killer that worked for the cloning company who ended up killing a bunch of homeless people. It makes no sense why the multiples, I get why multiples aren't allowed, but it makes no sense as to, like, that's the level of writing we have here. Let me see if I can paint a picture as to, like, how bad the writing is. So Mickey meets the black girl on the ship. She's like a cop, and then they fall for each other, and she's with him for years. And so they have like an inside joke of sex positions, and like, oh, they're having a lot of fun, kind of fooling around together. And so they label these sex positions like A1, A2, A3, B2, B3, C3. Later on in the movie, near the end, the way that it all comes together, he signals via video cam back to the people on the ship, C3, which was a sex position where he's like cradling her as a baby. It's called Bring the Baby, because there's this baby creeper, like this roly-poly with like felt skin. That's the native inhabitant species on this planet. There's one on the ship that they've captured, and so he does a inside joke sex position. C3 was the line that Bong wrote, or not wrote, but how did this script make it to the big screen? It has such a great look to it and a great feel. Give me some sort of Borderlands, dystopian space sci-fi flick where you're constantly being renewed for the corporation. The greedy corporation, and you could do a lot with this. There's so much potential in this premise, and they throw it all away with amateurish college-level writing. It's that bad. But of course, throughout the movie, I'm gonna laugh at all the stupid stuff because I realized they were going for comedy. So I'm like, but looking back, it's just embarrassing, this movie. You would never watch this again. There's no rewatch value. Mark Ruffalo's performance as Trump is the cringiest thing I've seen in a long time. It's marvelous. Look at this ship. It's marvelous. I mean, how many Trump impressions have we seen at this point, right? It's going on 10 years, at least. And Mark's like, I'm doing the lips. I'm doing the thing. The Trump voice. It's the cringiest thing you'll ever see. And there's even a scene to hammer it home in the first 20 minutes of the movie where his fans are all wearing red. It's so bad that every time he was on screen, I kind of cringed. Even though I kind of find absurdist Mark Ruffalo, I don't hate him as an actor. He's insufferable as a human being. Don't hate him as an actor. But this movie made me want to never see him in anything ever again. Like, I hated Poor Things because it's a glorified pornography about a woman who goes and finds herself by sleeping around with the world. Mark Ruffalo is actually hilarious in that movie. He might be the best part of that movie, obviously besides Willem Dafoe. What a lowbrow, low-hanging fruit impression of Trump in space as the bad guy. And you had to do a Trump voice. So bad. It's not this good. It's not a 78 or a 73. I thought they'd show us a lot more Mickey deaths, like I said earlier. Show us all the Mickey deaths. Let me get to know this character more. I don't know Mickey at all. He got roped in with Glenn from Walking Dead, and they made a macaroon company, and they took out a loan that they couldn't pay back fast enough, so now the mafia on Earth is chasing them, so they have no choice but to go to space because the macaroon company didn't pan out. What are we doing, script? Like, looking at this, without the audio, the tone doesn't seem like it's completely absurdist slapstick comedy, right? No, it is. And the sound mixing is terrible. There were some lines I couldn't even hear because the music was so loud. And then it gets really quiet for like 20 minutes after that. There's no background noise at all. It's like, who did the sound design? They should be fired from Hollywood. This is trash. This is actually a really trash movie. I don't know why it's rated this well. Of course, Steven Yeun, he gives a great performance. I love him in almost everything. She's beautiful, by the way, that chick. She kind of reminds me of one of my exes. Hey, if you're watching, what's up? Beautiful, sort of like Russian girl who, of course, they had to make gay because you can't have a beautiful woman who's obviously straight be straight, right? She's got to be gay. So the ugly lesbians can feel like they can attain that too, right? I don't know. That's kind of just what I took away from it. This is my translation. This is Austin translation. Robert Pattinson's voice that he puts on is interesting-ish, I guess. I don't know what he's going for. He's got a great range. He's great. He doesn't do anything I don't like in the movie. He's fine. Just the script, the way everything ties together in terms of the reveals, the plot points, the anchor threads, the sex position, the macaroon company, and the lack of showing Mickey 1 through 16's all of their deaths in creative detail. It's so stupid. I don't know what they're going for here. It's like, what's the message? What's the real theme of this movie? They kind of harp on it a couple times. There's a couple serious conversations where they're talking about, you've experienced death before. You've died multiple times. What's it feel like? It's like, it's scary every time. It's like, yeah, I get that. That's relatable, man. That's human. That's deep. Scary every time. That's as deep as it gets. You'd think that there'd be some sort of profound insight or something based on what this character might have been. No, it's scary every time, man. Yeah, so I learned nothing new about maybe the human condition. There's no insight gained. There's no theme. What's the theme? Colonialism's bad? Private space? Entrepreneurship is bad? Hint, hint. Very anti-Trump, very anti-Elon. Cringe as shit. I can't believe this movie actually, it's the fact that it came out now is even cringier. This movie should have come out a couple years ago. And I don't think many people would have batted an eye or even really noticed. It would have gotten like maybe a solid 88%, but I don't know what's happening here. There's some shadiness going on. I don't trust half that I'm seeing from Rotten Tomatoes, from Hollywood in terms of critic and audience reviews. I don't know what's going on. This movie just does not deserve your money. Wait for streaming. It doesn't deserve to be seen in theaters. I will tell you if I think a movie should be watched in theaters because I'm a huge theater connoisseur, theater appreciator of sort of the atmosphere and the gravitas that a theater brings to a movie. This movie is so crude and stupid and kind of insulting to your intelligence that it would, it's definitely giving you the finger the entire time. This movie really dropped the ball. They had an opportunity to explore themes about death, fear of death, what it feels like, just talk about the human condition a bit more, make it somewhat profound. Kind of like Parasite did, where there was a class distinction between the rich and the poor, accidental mistakes, lifelong consequences of, death, impacting the trajectory of a lifetime. Nothing like that. So, yeah, don't go see this in theaters. Don't give them your money. Hollywood deserves, especially this movie, to suffer. It's not very good. I chuckled in the movie a couple times. I was mainly laughing at it, while in the back of my mind going, this is complete slop, garbage. Don't waste your time. See you guys soon.